Hello, fellow market students and traders. My name is Silva Asimus, and with Tip TV and Market Tutors, this is our Mind Over Markets show. And we're very happy to greet Steven Desboro, our performance coach. And so, Steven, tell me a little bit what a performance coach does.
Well, I think the idea, Sylvain, is really to help people to understand how their mind works. And the greater you understand how your mind works, the more you're going to get from it. So we all run up against challenges, obstacles, problems. And I think the more that we can understand what's really behind that, is the more we can navigate around it or the best route past it.
Okay. And so you have, as I understand, you have been a trader before, and now you're a performance coach. Can you explain a little bit how you went from trading to becoming a performance coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very fortunate to be a trader on both of the life floors.
Oh, just by the way, for those of you who might remember the show Billions, this is the performance coach, Wendy Rhodes, and I just put that image in so you can understand a little bit how she worked. And Steven Desboro is basically the UK's answer to Wendy Rhodes.
Well, that's kind. I'm not quite as glamorous.
But you're real.
But I was very fortunate enough to trade on both of the floors, and when the floors closed, to then trade on the screens. And I kind of took that I was stressed and that was part of the job, and I just had to deal with it. And what became clear to me, Sylvain, not until afterwards, but I didn't realise how much the job was taking a toll on me.
Like physically?
Well,
mentally?
Maybe not so much physically, but certainly mentally and performance-wise. Mm-hmm. So I would be burdened by what I thought was going on in the markets, and by my P&L, and stress and frustration and concern and worry and a burden. But when I eventually left trading, I started to see that actually it wasn't any of those things that was really the problem.
Why did you leave trading?
So when the floors closed, I was a trader on the screens, and I wasn't particularly good, and I didn't particularly enjoy it as much as I did the floor.
Okay.
And it was then when I was offered the chance of becoming a risk manager to a group of traders that it kind of became clear to me how much our performance could be enhanced or could be sort of downtrodden by our state of mind. Until then, it wasn't that clear to me.
Does that mean, did you see a relationship between the P&L curves of the traders and their moods or troubles at home maybe, or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely, I could. And it even though I was sort of aware of it to some degree, I saw it so much clearer when I kind of stepped on the other side of the fence from trading. And I could see these great traders and who would be performing at this really flowing high level, and then they would just be making crazy decisions and really making quite poor mistakes. And it was fascinating to me. And I wanted to learn more, and it was that time where I thought, I've got to leave. I need to go and study more about this. And I gave myself 6 months to see if there was a business there, and I went away and studied, and that was 10 years ago.
So what exactly did you study, and what degree do you have? Do you have like a specialty such as CBT, hypnosis, NLP?
Those were the things I studied initially. I think for me that was quite a common, well-trodden path. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, and hypnosis. And I studied and threw myself into that and wanted to learn more and go on every course and basically absorb as much as I could, because I thought the more I understood, the more I could give out to my clients. And as good as it was, I knew that there was something missing.
What was that? Did you find it?
Well, yeah, I think that I was on this search for the golden ticket. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of about 6 years ago that during my studies and journeys of going on courses and reading books, that I came across, which is what I teach now, which is a new understanding of the mind.
Okay, can you describe it to us in a nutshell, and how that relates to trading?
Well, I can, and I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can.
I mean, you chose an image of mind tricks or an optical illusion, if we can bring it up. This is a famous diagram, and some people see two faces and some people see a cup. So how does this relate to mind, thought, the understanding or misunderstanding you spoke about, and trading?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and there was a misunderstanding for me. And I believe culturally there is a misunderstanding so way beyond trading. And
Coach professional athletes as well, I understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love to spend a lot of time with traders. I've got this the passion for the markets, but also helping people who I can see were up against a lot of the challenges and problems that I came up against. But the misunderstanding, Sylvain, is I believe that how I felt came down from the outside world. So I was stressed because I was a trader. I was upset because I lost money. I was angry because I didn't do as well as I could. And I was excited because I was going on holiday. And I believed that how I felt came from the outside world. And I would say a huge majority of the people listening would say, well, of course, that's where it comes from.
So
but it doesn't.
It basically comes from inside.
Yeah, it's a misunderstanding we have culturally. I mean, we all believed that the world was flat once upon a time, and it looked very convincing. There would be open and shut case. The world was flat. It never was. It just appeared that way. And again, it's the same misunderstanding that we have with where our feelings come from, where our experiences come from.
So what is, for example, the most common problem traders are confronted with? Or what is the first thing a trader actually comes to you and wants to learn from you or improve on?
Well, I don't think there's one specific thing. I mean, people are up against many different challenges, and I think just to kind of tar it with one brush wouldn't be correct. I think people are up against many different variables: stress, underperformance, want to earn more money, fear of missing out. There's so many different variables, but really what I'm pointing to is there's an underpinning of all of these things. And what that comes from is a misunderstanding of how the mind works.
Could it be also considered like tricks of the mind, like the ego telling you things to do? For example, when you trade, sometimes you get tempted to move your stop or to kind of take profits too early. Is that also some issues you work with, and is that also something that is in the mind as you purport it to be?
Yeah, ego's a huge challenge, and it was for me as a trader. And I was just with a client earlier today, and could start to see the power of the ego and how it can sort of pull the rug from underneath our feet. And he says, I need to manage it, I need to get rid of it, and that's never going to happen. There is nothing that we need to do other than to understand it.
Okay. By the way, there's another image which you might know, so try to see if you can detect a cigar. Some people might know this, some people might not, but this was actually kind of a fun image. Why did you choose that one as well?
Well, it was a great one for me because I actually had to Google it because I couldn't see it. But when I did, and you can see clearly there's a cigar in the photograph when you see it.
I know. Once I saw it, now I see it, but in the beginning...
The reason why I chose that particular image, Sylvain, is because there's a similarity with regards to what I'm pointing people towards, is that when you see that your experience will only ever come from within you, you can't unsee it.
Okay. And this an image that we chose I like a lot because on the one hand, you have this surfer who's struggling against the tide, which is, I think, a sentiment that many traders have, or not only traders, but which we have in everyday life. And at the same time, we're struggling and swimming against the tide, but we can also go towards the light and see it in a different way. So I think, if I understand you correctly, it's up to us to choose what we make of any situation. Is that right?
Well, we kind of forget that we have a choice. You know, when I was trading, if someone said to me, well, you look stressed, I'd have been like, well, it's because I'm a trader. Did I have a choice around it? Not in my mind. And if you weren't stressed, you was kind of delusional. You weren't taking the job seriously. That was my belief. And that was the movie I created in my head, and I was at the effect of that. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I'm pointing about this is that we all agree that it's easier to swim with the tide than it is to swim against it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of common knowledge, well, the and is that to swim with the tide might be a lot easier than what you actually think it is, regardless of the challenges that you face, regardless of where you are in your trading career or what you're up against. And part of my job is to help people to see that when we get out of our own way, trading becomes a lot simpler. And I'd like to sort of point people towards what I call effortless trading.
Okay. So do you believe that effortless trading is something we all can attain through practice, or is it kind of a snap moment, or how do these things usually work?
Well, I mean, you could take it beyond to effortless trading to effortless living.
Okay.
And there's people out there that say, well, yeah, it'll be effortless if this, and this was okay. Mm-hmm. Until they see the misunderstanding of really what's behind their experience, and even if those things were as they wanted, mm-hmm. it doesn't necessarily mean that they would feel a certain way.
Can you just, as a last question, briefly describe your greatest achievement that you had with a trader, or any other person who you've worked with? And
well, I think, it's just one that springs to mind is a client of mine who's a very, very successful oil trader. And making money for him really wasn't a problem, but he would have such huge losses that they would kind of send him into a tailspin and have quite a detrimental effect on his performance, on his relationship, on his well-being. Mm-hmm. And so making money, as I said, wasn't a problem for him. He just kind of wanted to take out that. So that would be good, and then there would be this big gap of a downturn. And through him getting a greater understanding of the mind and how it works, and how when we get out of our own way, these kind of things will just not appear as regularly, and when they do, they don't get to there, they kind of get an upturn in between. That was something that was so simple for him to see once he saw it. It's again as the same as the cigar. It's again the same as, seeing that the earth wasn't flat. It's when we see that as our mind settles and clears, we become a better version of ourselves. And I want to help people to with a greater understanding of the mind, is to elevate their performance in trading or in any other area of their life.
Well, Steven, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to speaking to you next time and delving a little bit deeper into the mind, into trading, and see if our audience can actually benefit from that. So thank you very much again, Steven Desboro, performance coach. I'm Silvam Asimus for Market Tutors and Tip TV. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.